Alright, this is 7-1 Lesson 1. I'm going to go through square roots the way I like to explain square roots. And the first thing we're going to do is square root these three examples using my method. My method may seem a little bit slow, and we'll do some simpler things later, but I just want to explain how I do it. So, my example, number 1, is a square root of 45. Now, we have to remember that a square root is asking what times what equals that number. Now, 45 is not a square, such as 4 being the square of 2 or 9 being the square of 3. So what I can do, though, is I can simplify this. Now, in order to simplify it, I'm going to make a factor tree. So I know the smallest thing that goes into 45 is 3, and it goes into that 15 times. Now, I'm done with that branch, but 15 can be broken down. 15 is 3 times 5. So after I do the factor tree, and I always factor the smallest thing out that I can, I get that 45 is equal to 3 times 3 times 5. Now remember, when we're doing a square root, we're asking what times itself. In other words, we're looking for groups of size 2. Right here, I have one group of size 2, that's 3 and 3, and I have a 5 which isn't circled. If it's circled, it can leave the square root, and one copy leaves the square root, and whatever is not circled must stay inside the square root. So when I simplify square root of 45, I get 3 root 5. Alright, let's do this again. I have 24. I'm going to factor tree it. And when I factor tree, I always ask myself, what's the smallest thing that goes into it? Well, 2 goes into 24 12 times. 2 goes into 12 6 times. 2 goes into 6 3 times. I'm going to circle things of size 2. I have 2 2's, it gets circled. I do not circle this 2, I do not circle this 3. Now, whatever's circled, I'm going to pull one copy out of the radical. So, square root of 24 is going to be 2 square root, and whatever's not circled stays on the inside. So a 2 stays on the inside, and a 3 stays on the inside. 2 times 3 is 6. So the square root of 24 is 2 root 6. Alright, next, let's do a bigger one. Let's do 108. Now, I keep asking myself, what is the smallest thing that goes into it? That way everything is organized. I would have all of the 2's, then all of the 3's, then all of the 5's, and then I could circle the groups that I have. So, 108 is even, so 2 goes into it, and 2 goes into it 54 times. 2 will go into 54 27 times, 3 will go into 27 9 times, 3 will go into 9 3 times. So now I have that 108 is 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. I'm going to circle things of size 2. So here's a group of size 2, and here's a group of size 2. Out comes 1 2, out comes 1 3, and a 3 stays on the inside. So 2 times 3 is 6, and on the inside, the 3 stayed. Alright, that's it for simplifying radicals. In the next video, I'm going to do some nth roots. So instead of looking for groups of size 2, I'll look for a group of size 3 if I'm doing a cube root, or 4 if I'm doing a 4th root. I'm also going to do one example with the calculator and have the approximate answer. It's just plugging in the calculator and writing down the number to the decimals it wants.